what's up? Welcome to the Sisters in Therapy podcast. We're back with another session. Today we're talking about the psychology behind self-sabotaging behaviors. This one might be one to make y'all go, I need to do better.
Possibly. Yeah. Possibly.
So self-sabotage, behaviors or thoughts, especially of an involuntary or unconscious nature that are harmful to one's own interest or development.
It's a lot of words.
That's a lot of words. But, in layman terms, what is self-sabotage?
I mean, I wrote under that definition, it's just undermining your values. Like literally the definition of getting in your own way. Yeah. Now, I do think it's fair that...
Getting in your own way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I think a lot of times it is subconscious. I don't think a lot of people are aware that they're self-sabotaging.
I agree.
But you're getting in your own way. That's my perspective.
Okay. So when you think of self-sabotage, Takesha and Brittany, what are examples of self-sabotage? What are some behaviors, though?
Honestly, the biggest thing for me is fear. That's one of the main...
What behavior tied to fear?
Let me see. When people are afraid of change. Like, self-sabotage doesn't have to be, like, the most devastating action.
Not at all.
Right. But I think when fear gets in the way of you actually taking a chance or applying for the job or living more freely, pursuing dating, things like that. It's sabotaging your life in a way that fear has taken over and you're limiting your life experiences.
Stopping you from doing something that you would either otherwise do or that you know would be for your overall benefit or well-being, but you don't do it.
Okay. Or you're disrupting something that you already have.
Ooh.
You're disrupting something that you already have.
Tag that, Lloyd.
No, but so when I think of self-sabotaging behaviors as a couples therapist, I think of things like infidelity.
Ooh.
That's a self-sabotaging behavior.
It definitely is.
Other things that come up for me when I think of self-sabotaging behavior would be engaging in relationships with people who don't like you, because that's a self-sabotage. The more you try to date people who don't like you, it is going to make you feel like you just lack self-confidence.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is self-sabotage. And I just arrived at this week because this has been a constant theme in my therapy room.
Yes.
Constant theme. And every time I'm dealing with something that is, because we're clinicians, I know how to work with depression and bipolar and all that. People are coming in with all of these different types of patterns. I'm like, I got to do some research, because what is this? What is the root of self-sabotaging behavior?
Yes.
It has been a thing, because when you're a therapist, you got to go back and do some research when things keep coming. I'm like, I got to help them in some type of way. We got to find the root here. Those have been the biggest self-sabotaging behaviors probably this month. Infidelity and engaging in relationships with people who don't like you. Because you think you can change them.
Okay.
I've seen the counter to that of engaging with people that are not available, or they're like physically or emotionally unavailable because you are afraid of that vulnerability or what would come with like the responsibility of being in a fully committed relationship, or the potential heartbreak that would come with someone who is fully available. That's a risk of losing them versus signing up for you. If you already know it ain't gonna be nothing, then there's not much to lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one. I've seen, which I'm pretty sure you all have seen as well, is being afraid like the person is too good for them, right? Or nitpicking, finding the ick in this person. Like, well, are they?
Yes.
Is this fear, or are they actually doing? Are you looking for something? Because I've not heard anything that bad that you've described about this person. Like, let's take a step back. Are we sabotaging?
Yes,
like,
we are.
Is your low self-esteem sort of?
And you did. No, I'm just kidding.
This is why I have to say to clients in a way of like, is your loneliness trying to find a home? Is anxiety trying to find a home? Like, what are you? Let's take a step back and really pay attention to how you're countering what you want this journey to be. I get it. You got to sit with it. It is fearful or scary to be vulnerable. It is all of those things. But like, you learn nothing if you only reserve your growth in this moment with me. It has to happen
in the therapy room,
right? Yeah.
So you said something that what did you just say? You said that you were about to say something about being afraid to like try something new or give yourself something new because they're doing what's familiar if they're self-sabotaging.
Right.
Okay, I thought that's what you were about to say.
Possibly.
But I think self-sabotaging is a coping mechanism.
It is.
I think that
For
it's
what?
something that people use to deal with past traumas, and they use to stay
Yes.
connected with those past traumas.
Ooh, that's a big
This
one.
is me staying connected to my past trauma because I made a note about this after a session today because I'm not gonna lie. When people come see me, I completely cut myself off from my own self off. When people come, I struggle as a clinician with self-sabotaging behaviors that are just like okay reoccurring.
Obnoxious.
I'm like okay, I got to figure out how to help you
Yeah.
because you're really making me be a therapist today because some things come natural to me as a therapist,
Yeah.
like some things, but this is one of those things I gotta like rub my temples
Yeah.
and it's like okay, what I gotta do.
Yeah. No, that's
But,
facts.
Because are they noticing that it's self-sabotaging? Because
but you can't just
we
like
see
girl
it
that's
over and over again.
self-sabotaging. You gotta
I think
we gotta
after a while
right.
I do. If we've been meeting, and I only say it in that way because, this is with clients that I have rapport with. It gets to a point of like if you have but then you're not wanting to change. I'm about to be straight up with you. You're sabotaging.
Right, but our job is to help them get to the root so we can
Yes.
change the behavior.
I do that as
So then I start asking questions about your family of origin. When I'm trying to get to the root of self-sabotage, I say, tell me about little Jane. Let's talk about little Jane. We're going to figure out where the fuck did this start?
Right.
Because it started somewhere.
It started
and people
somewhere.
almost think, oh, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. We're going to get there. Walk with
There's
me.
always a change.
Walk with me.
Walk
They
with
always
me.
think ain't nothing got
We
nothing to
gonna
do with
get there.
nothing.
Walk
It all
with
got
me.
something to do with
So
it.
by the end of the conversation, they've told me, oh, such and such will tell me this wasn't good enough. I made 89. Okay. Because something that's also been very much so a pattern in my therapy room is people telling me I don't know how to access play. I don't know how to access fun.
I believe
And there are certain people who have had the type of childhoods to where fun and play were not a part of their childhoods.
Right.
And the idea of said experiences freak them out. They self-sabotage anytime it's getting close to somebody taking them there. And this is something I've noticed. So I'm thinking I'm like, okay, so this is a coping mechanism for you because you are trying to stay connected to the past traumas, the past pain, because you're scared as hell to connect with something new. And I understand because you've been working so hard to manage the pain and manage the trauma. But I'm like, you in therapy doing the work. This is the healing for you to learn how to manage the joy
Exactly.
and manage the fun. You don't need to manage the trauma no more. You're good at it.
Right.
yes.
People having a hard time managing the joy, and it's leading to self-sabotage because every time they start having a good time and things start feeling right, nuh-uh,
Yeah.
this ain't it.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest to get them to see it.
I agree.
And then expecting the person that you're self-sabotaging with to have the patience and the grace, you keep doing it.
Right. Exactly.
It's hard.
It really.
I struggle with this as a therapist.
Yeah.
This is an area that I struggle with helping people, I guess, produce change in this area of their life because so much of the work has to come from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Were you
hard.
gonna say? I thought you were gonna say something. Okay.
I find it very hard.
It is hard, and I mean, like you said, people are familiar with certain patterns.
Yeah.
And there's a false sense of security
Yes.
when it's predictable, right? It also
Yes.
it fuels the ego. It's like, oh yeah, that's why I don't even try it in the first place. But like,
Yes.
how hard have you really tried, right? Like, how hard have you tried
It's
to?
comfortable.
Right, it is comfortable, and I've learned like what's familiar doesn't have to be sustained. Like, you don't have to survive in the same way, but like you said, it takes some time to really explore the root, the source of it all, to make changes. Because truly, like you were saying, we didn't get here out of nowhere, right? We
Right.
didn't plant these negative thoughts like, oh yeah, I'm gonna choose this negative thought today. It doesn't work that way. But there are tools that you can learn to shift and pivot those thought processes, I think.
Or really just being aware of how your past experiences
Yeah, that's a big one.
are kind of showing up for you right now and getting in the way of you having new experiences. Why don't you think you deserve that? I want you to honor yourself. Because I tell people self-sabotaging is also self-betrayal at some point.
Because it is. No, I was going to say that I think a part of that is also them not wanting to acknowledge. I see a lot of people don't want to acknowledge the past harm or hurt that's come from
True.
their life. And I see that come up for a lot of different reasons. One is because they don't want to villainize their parents.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
It is a big
What
one.
do you see as what's some of the reluctancy in clients acknowledging that, yeah, this wasn't ideal and it is still impacting my current relationships or my current life?
You said what I see is the biggest what?
Barrier for them wanting to like just acknowledge that.
What you just said, villainizing their parents. That's a big one for people. Not wanting to villainize their parents and to also be like, I turned out fine though. I'm like, yes, you have the degrees, you have the house, you have the car. This is what you're basing fine upon. But let's talk about your inability to sustain relationships with the people that you love.
Right.
But we don't talk about that whenever it comes to talking about success or what
This
it
is
means
true.
to make it.
Yeah.
This is
We don't
true.
talk about relationships.
It only
That's a good
pertains to
point.
like making money and having like the high paid job or
That's a good
whatever the
point.
case is. Yeah.
And also, recently had a conversation with a client, and I said, your parents have determined what success is to you. You are in a position now to recreate what success means to you. You have the power to do so, and we're gonna talk about it. So, and also threaten termination.
Well,
I'm like, because at this point, you're wasting your
Sometimes.
money if you don't do any of this work.
yeah. I wonder too if they acknowledge or to the term that you use, like villainize their parent. I wonder if there's a fear of like realizing they don't need their parent in the same way. I wonder, like it's kind of like one of those breakaways.
Okay.
Of the relationship. What will the relationship be like if I don't need my parent to the same capacity? If I said that.
Well,
I think that could be it, but I also think it could be not even that I don't need them in the same way, but it could be, will it shift our relationship, or do
Yeah.
I have to be mad at them and I have to tell them
Yeah.
all the time? It doesn't mean that you have to change the dynamic of your relationship if what you have now works, or that you have to be mad at them, but it's also okay to acknowledge that you wish you had these pieces and you didn't have them, or that they caused you harm in your adult life. So you don't have to change how you currently feel about them.
No.
The least you can do for yourself is acknowledge the ways in which they didn't parent you in a way that you felt like you needed.
Right.
And so that's our jobs as therapists, to kind of reassure them that we're going to hold their hand through this process, and we're going to go whatever way they want to go. If you want to have a relationship with your parents, we can set therapy up to explore what it looked like for you to heal and also still have a relationship with your parents. And also, I also share with people that your parents don't have to be included on this healing process.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Sometimes
That's a big
you may
one.
need that, but this healing process is solemnly yours.
That's a big
They don't
one.
have to be included on it.
Yeah.
And also, if you need to talk to your parents, you need to say something, there are other interventions we can do. We can write letters. We can do the empty chair.
Come
There's
on,
so
empty
many
chair.
interventions
Yeah.
that we can do. And
Yeah.
and just really just gaining the trust of people and saying like, okay, I got you while we're here. I'm gonna do my best to walk with you as we navigate these experiences that you've had. You can trust me with this because you need to get it out.
And part of it is teaching them to also trust themselves to
Okay.
deal with the emotional hardship that comes with acknowledging those truths.
Yes.
And for that, it's often just, you're here. You've made it through everything. Or you would not be here in this room.
You
Absolutely.
manage
Have
the hard
resilience.
stuff. Right. Yes. I'm like, you
Yes.
manage the hard stuff.
Yes.
I'm like, now what's scary for you is to manage this stuff that feels good. That's what's scary to you. And I'm like, I get it. It's scary. It's like, that's what they're like. Somebody literally walked in today and just laid on the couch and said, whew, it's just been one of those ones, and I just need to tell you that you were right.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I'm like, I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong.
Right.
I want to be wrong, actually.
Right.
But just so my point to saying is they know. Half the time they do know, and half the time they just like they wait until it's something big has happened to try to stop the self-sabotaging. And now they have an ultimatum. And now I got to sit at the edge of my chair because now we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
We down 4 points and it's game 7 or something. No, we down 10
Overtime.
points
I'm
and
about
it's
to say
game
you down on the
7.
phone.
We in an elimination game and we got to work. We just working too hard at this point.
Yeah, that might be the thing too, like making things more difficult than they need to be. Like it does
That's part of the procrastination.
right.
But,
Life is already complicated. We don't have to complicate it more.
but if they didn't do that, they probably wouldn't come see us.
No, that's true. I wouldn't have no job. So actually, keep on.
No, don't keep on.
I'm literally joking, guys. Don't keep on.
But that's the thing. Like people come see me, they're very literal, and most of the times I feel like I'm asking, or I think that I'm asking questions, and they're like, "This ain't got shit to do with what I just told you." And most of the time, you're trying to convince them, like, just we gonna get there, because everybody want to come in, and I'm like, "What? We can't just take it slow.
Exactly.
Give me a minute."
Exactly.
See, you go back and they don't see where you're going with your questions. My questions are more like, they think I'm just trying to be a smart ass, because I'm like, did that work for you? How did that go last time? Walk me through. They're like, no, but what?
I do
like,
get to
tell
those
me
questions,
why.
but
Tell
I
me
have
why
to
it
have a
didn't
little bit of
work.
assessment
'Cause I
in the
need you to
first
say it
session.
out loud.
Right.
So you can hear it out loud and
I
hear
do
how
that
that
too.
sound.
Right.
I just don't do that first.
I think she's saying like you do it after a while, right? Or are you saying like that's your hey, different.
That's me being curious. I'm just curious.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But I will do the same thing every time. But it is a naturally curious thing, because I'm learning your patterns while you're also learning them out loud.
Right.
And time 2 and time 3, we're going to go back through it again. And again, my job is to make you conscious and aware that this is a pattern, so that you can then make the conscious decision if you're ready to do something different or not. But ultimately, like you said, Mercedes, the emotional labor is yours. I can't do it for you.
Yeah,
No
and
offense.
I use both of y'all's approaches. I like to I always, my clients hear me say all the time, well, let's consider the source. Like, we didn't get here out of nowhere, right? So where did that come from? Where did you learn that? Like, I like to go back to come forward, if it's relevant. I usually pick up on how people are talking in a therapy session. Like, where did that come from?
When they
That's
tell
usually
me,
always relevant, just for the empathy piece and the validation piece of, again, none of us got here.
Yeah.
no
on accident or
facts. I
overnight.
mean, I ask questions like you as well, but sometimes people say to me, "I just don't know. It's just the way I am." So I'm like, "No, we need to figure out how you got to be like this." But then also, there's a thing where I do have people repeat something they said, repeat it at least 3 times, because what? Say that again.
And they're like, I see what you did there.
Yeah. And the more
did
they
you?
say it, I'm like, okay, what does that sound like? Are you honoring yourself or betraying yourself? That's my new language. And when my clients come back and tell me that they went somewhere and they sat with somebody, approached them on some stuff, and they're like, wait a minute, let me figure out if this honor me or betray me.
Right.
And they go think about it, and they come back and tell me in therapy, I really be like,
Do they say, they always think, oh, what would Mercedes say right now?
They do tell me that.
Mine do that.
And I'm like, yes, I ain't trying to live in your head, but I really need you to do this work.
Yeah, the goal's like, eventually, hopefully, that'll be your voice.
Right.
But for now, I'll take it. It's cool. It's cool.
I'm like, don't be out there telling everybody my therapist said, because people love using me.
Oh, I'll be telling you. You can blame me.
I
My
tell
therapist said I need to set a boundary. Damn, sure did.
Now, there have been a few times I have been used. I said, I did not tell you to do that. I
Exactly.
did not tell you to tell that person to F off. I did not say that.
Yes.
In fact, we said something different.
I think we got off topic.
It's okay. What do y'all think about imposter syndrome as being a form of self-sabotage?
I don't think I ever put those two together. I don't like the words imposter syndrome, but
Tell
think
us why. I'm
because it was
curious.
created by white people to describe how I am, how I'm showing up in spaces.
This is true.
But I understand the definition fully, but it was definitely created by them to determine how. Wait, okay. But I think imposter syndrome is a confidence thing.
Yeah.
And I guess it could be self-sabotaging. It can keep you from going after something, or you can mess up something that you have. I think imposter syndrome recently visited me as I took on my first supervisee. For sure, I feel like it definitely visited me.
How did you get past it, if you have?
I really just sat down and answered the questions and talked about my approach and was just myself. And it worked.
Yeah. I think the thing that people forget, like, we aren't always confident about everything. It's just, did you give yourself the chance to try, right? Like, you care about being a supervisor. You're passionate about your field. That will lead you in those spaces, right? So, like, we all have those moments of, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I at least trust myself to try and to pivot if I feel necessary, right? So, like, with my clients in particular, I always, one of my favorite worksheets to give them is the strengths exploration worksheet. So, like, they circle what their strengths are, and then they talk about what areas have they practiced those strengths. That way you get to see, like, you do more than you're giving yourself credit for. And that's honestly the biggest way to work through imposter syndrome is really recognizing how you do contribute to your work ethic and things like that. I think people overcompensate, or they get so caught up in the fear, and it just ends up being like an unnecessary experience. Yeah.
I went to hear Roxanne Gay speak, and when talking about her writing, she said, "I'm generally terrified, but I do it anyways."
Yes. You were
Literally.
scared anyway.
So it really is about just doing it anyways, and
Exactly.
knowing that again, being afraid or feeling a little insecure about it is not a disqualifier.
Right.
You don't have to stop yourself from doing this thing. It really is acknowledging and saying, "I'm going to do it anyways."
It's emotion
It's not gonna
exploration.
break you.
Also,
Yes.
that's what it is for me. And that's literally what I did. I'm like, I feel this way, but I'm like, okay. I think I came and told you a little. I said in passing, I said to you how I was feeling, but the supervisor did not know that's how I felt, because I just literally sat down, answered the questions, and was just myself.
Right.
And who says that this has to go whatever way except the way that I want it to go?
Exactly.
Creating a safe space for people, I'm like, I could do that. That's what this is for. Answering somebody questions about therapy, I definitely can do that. I think the imposter syndrome kind of surfaced because I kept feeling like I needed to be perfect and have everything together as the clinician, like business wise, because those were the type of questions that she had. And I was like, but no, because nobody is perfect. And as an entrepreneur and therapist, we're always figuring things out.
Exactly.
So that's kind of like how I walk that imposter syndrome right on out the door.
And I think that's one way to combat that type of self-sabotage when it comes to imposter syndrome, because that's something that I think I've had to do before too. Whenever it came to writing, I was writing a few chapters for an academic book, and everybody else literally on every single chapter works in academia and already has all these publications. And so I was feeling a way, like, dude, should I be here? I ain't got no kind of publications. But it really is that perfectionist piece. And then I even felt it a little bit whenever I got my first supervisee. And I think a big part of it, and it's kind of now almost a natural shift for me, is to get to the point to say I don't have to be perfect. I can really, in all situations, I can practice transparency and I can acknowledge that I don't have to be perfect, and I can put it out there, and then people can decide if they want to fool with it and if they don't.
Right.
I think people also respect that. I think that humanizes all of us, really. Because when you think, like, I'm not a supervisor, but, like, there's a power dynamic in a way, right? So, like, when you give off the energy that you're also willing to learn just as well as they are,
Yep.
I think that it creates a safe space for both of y'all. Really. And honestly, once you say the thing out loud, it dissipates. It's not that big of a deal. As long as you are willing to seek understanding, explore, and learn, it ends up being okay.
No, it really does.
Yeah.
I agree.
It really does.
What was I going to say? The other example of self-sabotage, which we kind of already touched on, was workaholic behaviors. Would y'all say have y'all seen that with clients?
It depends on what they're sabotaging. If they're sabotaging quality time with their family, then yes. That's a form of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Or that's the only thing that they are prioritizing in their life over relationships.
I was about to say, have we talked a little bit about the reasons why people sometimes self-sabotage? We know we said trauma, but what are some other reasons why y'all have seen
we said
people
fear. Self-sabotage.
I mean, I think
that word.
what is the other reason you think that people self-sabotage?
It always goes back to
Self-esteem.
self-esteem. Yeah.
I think a big one is self-esteem.
It is. Insecurities.
Insecurity, and also that fear of success, which is almost goes back to the trauma too. It's like, I know how to deal with this. This is comfortable. What will it look like on the other side? I don't know how to deal with this success, or I don't deserve it.
Yeah. I think people are too future thinking too. Like with even the success, I'm afraid if it doesn't go exactly this way and I fail, then they're afraid of, like, if the failure does come, then what would that mean?
Success means that I could then fail. And I could just stay here and not have the high and then not be disappointed.
But failure gets a bad rep because failure is not bad. It's not bad at all. And so failure is a part of success. And if you don't see failure as a part of success, you will never be successful.
They make it mean something about them, though.
But no, they internalize it. Then you need to shift their relationship with failure.
I agree.
And then redefine success.
I
Because
agree.
why do you want success without failure? It's almost impossible to have.
It's
they come
unrealistic.
together.
It's unrealistic.
Quitting is the problem, not failure. Quitting would be the problem. I think failure is an ingredient to success. It
Right.
has to be. It shows you what to do next.
It gives you the opportunity. What did they say? Rejection is a form of redirection. You
It's
get
guidance.
to pivot. Yeah.
On how to reach that goal that you want to reach.
Yeah.
And it's a part of the human experience that is
100%.
unavoidable.
Now, is that easy? No, it took me a long time to realize that failure is just, baby, it just is what it is.
But I get it when you want something so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I do get
And
it.
then you hit that wall and slide down, and then this thing that you wanted. I think we think that failure or heartbreak or hardships will break us. I don't think we acknowledge how resilient we are, which is odd because we're
Yes.
always talking about our resilience.
Right.
Resilience is a buzzword, okay?
It is, but it's
something
real.
to say, I forgot.
But it's also true because we are very resilient people. Many of us have had tons and tons of hardships, but yet we're so afraid of failing or being imperfect that we avoid so many things.
Collectively, we have had hardships, but when it comes to your individual goals, that's new for people to feel that way, I think.
They done failed at some before. Adults, you failed at something.
No, I'm saying that's maybe why it's hard. You're saying that we say we're so resilient, but when we speak about us being so resilient, we typically talk about how hard we've had it as Black people. That's a collective resilience. I'm talking about the individual resilience. Maybe people are still building it. I don't know. But I'm talking about when we say that we're resilient, it's typically because culturally, yes, we're resilient people.
Yeah.
That's our default. We know that.
I also think
But
people,
I hear you.
I would say I feel like individually too, but yeah.
yeah, I think people are also afraid to start over. Like it's the all or nothing
Yeah, agreed.
perspective. When really we always start over with something. I just don't think people that's where the introspection comes in. I don't think people either grieve properly to move on to the next stage. I don't think people are taking time to acknowledge the different stages in life, and I don't think people are giving themselves enough credit for even getting themselves where they are. Like our lives were different 4 or 5 years ago. You're not in the same, but because we're always seeking, because we're always pursuing something, we never give ourselves the credit for doing the work in the moment. We just want to jump to the next thing. And I always tell my clients, be proud of the effort. Yes, the outcome, it will be great if it goes exactly how you want it to go. But can we also be proud that you tried something, that you did something versus you reserving it for the check mark next, but you've not done any processing or told yourself good job for even just taking the step forward anyway.
I think. Go ahead, T.
No, it was a question.
Okay, I was gonna say I think that I'm thinking about Angel Reese right now because she had an interview and she was saying how basically she could have self-ruminated basically, but she decided to self-reflect and she decided to give herself grace. And I think I see that because when she started out, she was struggling a little bit and she was speaking in an interview and she was just saying, I just really decided to give myself grace. And she thinks that's why she's having. Her team is not winning, but she's having some individual success as she's transitioned to the league. And she really was saying, on Twitter, you can literally see her affirming herself, like, girl, you're doing a good job. Like, give yourself some grace. And I think it's great that she did that because I think athletes sometimes definitely are really hard on themselves.
For sure.
And it definitely come off in a self-shaming behavior.
Yeah, I mean,
For sure.
I can't imagine playing a sport that you absolutely love or have some passion for, and every time you get on the internet or turn on the TV, they talking about you like a dog. So, like, it's hard not to self-ruminate. So I can totally appreciate her being able to find her own path because that's hard as hell.
For sure.
I can't imagine.
For sure.
You had a question, T?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about how this is unconscious, the way that people may self-sabotage.
Yes.
Do you guys have any things that you suggest or any tips for how someone might be able to recognize that they might be in a pattern of self-sabotaging?
When the internet says to go to therapy.
But how do they know they need to go to therapy?
Because they're self-sabotaging.
How do they know they're self-sabotaging?
Because their partner told them.
What if their partner doesn't tell them?
Brittany, answer the question.
Honestly, I do. I think that there's a part of us that knows that something is not right. Like a lot of times, especially on like the intake form, the main thing I often see is issues with connecting with people or maintaining relationships. Like people know that there's something happening. There's a shortcoming somewhere.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know if they are able to say, I am actually self-sabotaging until they get with me and they work through some things, and I'll ask, like, would this be a reflection of?
Okay, so like behavior or pattern recognition
Right.
in their relationships or their behaviors that maybe aren't aligned with their dreams and their values. Okay.
Yeah. My mom says all the time. She's like, there's something in our body, our spirit, our energy. Like, we might not be able to articulate the thing, but we know that something is happening.
Okay.
But
Fair.
kudos to people for taking the step to actually start making some changes, because it is hard.
Change
absolutely.
always knocks at the door. It's up to us to open the door. I always say that. It's never, people, we don't get through this life just being one way.
Exactly.
People say that it's just the way I am. I always been like this. I'm a Libra. I'm something. You know, they just say all these things.
Which is cool, but
I'm
then
like,
it's not working for you. You mad.
But the thing is, you can be that way, but do not expect people to
Tolerate
adjust
it.
to you being an asshole.
Exactly.
Because this is just the way that you are. That is
Talking about it's a
100%
boundary.
unfair.
No, it's not.
It's literally not.
Y'all
No,
ain't got
it's
off
not.
subject, but that is crazy. Everything
Everything is a boundary, and it's
people
pissing me off.
people are misusing these words
Yeah.
so bad.
We gonna have an episode on how people misuse words.
Boundary
Ooh, that's
and
a good one.
narcissist
And
all the things.
neurodivergent.
and gaslighting.
And
all the
gaslighting.
work.
And neurodivergent.
Because that's boundary, y'all. Why are people saying that's my boundary when things that are not boundaries?
Because they believe that boundary means stop, and that's it.
They believe that boundary means I get
Control.
to have my way. It's control. I get to have my way, and you got to be okay with it because I get to have boundaries.
And
No.
it's literally the definition of I said what I said.
And think that people. But if I put
No.
boundary on it, that means you got to accept it.
It's so cute to say boundaries.
So cute. Everybody is saying it. People come in
Like,
and
huh?
tell me
Goodbye.
something is a boundary, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that they was a narcissist, but I don't like to diagnose. I'm like, you just
You've
did.
already done it. We're here now.
You just did.
Literally.
Got me. They got me
every other
googling the
person.
definition of stuff. I'm like, that is
Am I wrong?
Okay, 'cause I'll be like, that's not how I remembered it. Oh.
It's literally not.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Back on it. Okay, so be aware of their behavior, which
Yes.
requires maybe some introspection.
Yes.
On their behalf.
Absolutely. Yes.
So in order to avoid self-sabotage, one would need to have some introspective practices. What's what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those two kind of go together.
Yeah.
I think people also like get to a point of just simply being tired of the same shit happening over and over.
This is the thing though. So when I'm working with couples or just working in general with clients, I literally tell them what you're doing that's working, you're going to have to do over and over and over and over again.
And they're like, it's not going to be done.
It doesn't stop.
When I'm finished with therapy, I don't win. I don't get the skill. It don't just stay on its own. No.
I get it because I don't want to do it either. I just want
I tell them that all the time
I
too.
want to
Like, I
wake
get
up and
it.
everything
I get
just
it.
be like, oh,
Money in the
this is
bank.
great. But no,
Perfect.
it doesn't work like that. This ain't heaven.
It's
Guys, this is
constant.
earth. This ain't heaven.
I'm gonna ask God a few questions
This is not heaven.
because this experience is crazy.
But no, people were like, but I'm tired of talking about it. Okay.
What you go?
Well,
For y'all.
terminate.
No, they're not tired of talking about it with me.
Oh,
they're
oh.
saying they're tired of talking about it with said partners or with
That's
moms
because it
or
calls out their behavior.
or dads. I'm like, I get it. It's redundant.
Yeah.
And it is, but this is a check and balance process. You're going to check in. You don't got to do it for an hour. Check in, be considerate of the people that are in your space and go on about your day.
Right.
I was gonna ask if y'all have had any moments of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm human.
How
Absolutely.
did
I'm not
y'all-
saying which specific one.
That's okay.
Just know
that's
it has
okay.
happened.
You definitely don't have to.
Up in my damn business.
I definitely self-sabotage all the time.
No, both y'all done started coughing and hiding your
sweating.
face.
I got a little something in my stomach. I'm a human. I mean, that's enough to tell you. Yes, let me think of the ways I self-sabotage.
No, girl, don't tell these folks your
You
business.
gotta tell
TK, what
me-
you gotta
No,
ask?
my question
I got you, sis. Don't
was
worry.
specifically, what was your
Yeah.
process of going about like challenging yourself and trying to navigate it differently, or was there an intentional practice to try to put a stop to
Oh, girl.
the self-sabotage?
I found that little thing on social media where that thing said, get it together, bitch, and I mean now.
Now, N-E-W.
Get it together, and I mean now.
N-E-O-W.
I say it all the time, get it together. What Jasmine say on that song? Get it together, bitch. Get it together. That song.
Nah, tell us what you said. Since you know the lyrics, go ahead.
Maybe that ain't the right song.
Yeah,
She
I
said
know
I know
something.
what you're talking about.
It is Jasmine.
Yeah,
It is.
She said that. You know, sometimes you gotta say, okay, stop playing.
Right,
Stop.
stop playing. Yeah.
Okay, so just call yourself out.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's me.
I
know what
don't
I'm
lie to
doing.
myself. That's why I'm able to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing the most.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have did that.
Mm-hmm.
You said a little too much. You was too much right then. That's probably my biggest flaw. I don't know how to stop it, guys.
So you haven't actually stopped it.
Self-sabotage be knocking at the door.
You're just
and Sadie's be
aware.
like, come on in.
Hey, old friend.
I definitely do this. Probably in my relationship for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Oh,
that's
sweating.
hilarious. That's supposed to be
God.
funny. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. You since you in our business, what way you be sabotaging? Shoot, let's talk about you.
Not you trying to deflect.
Hey, you look self-sabotage.
What are y'all even talking about in here?
Deflecting and self-sabotage. I'm a master.
They having nerdy therapy jokes right now. And these people don't know what y'all talking
real
about.
quick. I'm turning red and shit.
About you.
I'm too light skinned for this.
What
Man, it's
happened?
funny.
What just happened?
I don't know, girl.
That's
We
personal,
funny.
girl.
Yeah, she got in our business. Talking about when do we, girl, mind your business.
All right.
Just yesterday. I'm playing. It was not that early. Maybe a month ago. I don't know. What was the question?
Do we self-sabotage? Yes, we do.
Not just that, but what is your process for trying to mitigate that? What do you do?
Kind of the same thing as Sadie's. Like I said in the previous session, like I'm aware of quite a bit. It's not many things that I'm like, girl, what the hell? It's not many things, but like I certainly have to pause before, because I used to be kind of impulsive with sending text messages.
Sound like this is dating.
Kind of.
Yeah. But no, there's always a moment like, all right, girl, like you. Now I would say my sabotage, just to share, is mostly with fear, like, right? Like, especially, well, I don't want to say that part, but I think fear is the part of.
It's one of those interviews where a celebrity get asked something, they trying to say something without saying something.
And the publicist looking across the room like,
that's what's going on right here.
okay. But yeah, fear has been a part of the self-sabotage for me. I think procrastination, possibly. Maybe perfectionism. I'm talking too much.
It's normal. So I don't know what. This is real live right now. Yeah, self-sabotaging. Takesha asked a couple of questions about if we self-sabotage and how do we mitigate it. We mitigate it by having real conversation with ourselves. I look in the mirror and I say, get it together.
Get it together.
Get it together.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Do you tell yourself get it together?
Get it together.
I do all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a human thing. I think what we talk about all the time, like it's not true that something never happens, and it's not true that something always happens. I think we just have to balance our lives. We have to do some introspection and just be real.
So yeah, I'm a big proponent of grace and accountability, and it's
Yeah.
something that I came up with a long time ago to use with clients, and I often use it with myself. And I do reflect on it. And I'm writing like. A lot of mine is sometimes procrastination. And it really is okay, why are you procrastinating? Is there a fear? Is it perfectionism? Whenever it comes to my writing, a lot it is perfectionism and wanting to get it right the first time. And so also that helps me problem solve. I can give myself grace for the self-sabotage that I might be doing. But it also gives me clarity in what I need to do next. And so there's grace and then there's accountability. Like, all right, now that you figured it out, you done gave yourself some grace, you're going to have to write. What's the plan?
Yeah, no, I feel that. So
Now y'all can't breathe from laughing so hard.
That shit was funny.
that was funny. How do we motivate our clients to change that pattern?
I think my biggest my biggest kind of approach to that is one, just helping them believe that they are worthy of
that's a good one.
a different way of living, a different way of being. I think that one of our slogans on our website is just achieving a higher quality of life. You're worthy of that. And so that's typically my approach to it. I always just in the business of trying to teach people how to honor themselves and what that looks like. That's kind of how my approach to that.
Yeah. Mine is similar. The name of my practice is Beyond Therapeutics. And so like my tagline is like, let's learn beyond what you believe that you know right now.
Right.
Like let's be willing to explore. We are very familiar with road A. We know the turns, we know the twists, we know the bumps. How about we choose a different path while also considering the source and being graceful, being understanding, being patient. Is usually like my main. It's like pouring into your client. Like
For sure.
it's not always about like giving them very specific tools, but just giving them the encouragement that things can be different.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's one of the main ones for me is one, just bringing awareness to how this is currently not working because I can't get you to buy into any type of change unless you become aware that this is not currently working and that you do want something different.
Right.
And then it becomes about empowering and just increasing imagination around how things could be different for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anything, Dr. MJ?
Yeah, I spent all that time, baby, and I don't even know. No, I think you guys wrapped it up perfectly. We're going to end with what? That? Or are we adding things? You have more
That's
to
it for
add
me.
about the topic?
I was going to read that, but it's okay.
No, go ahead.
I wrote down, the more you seek to understand and feel compassion for your own maladaptive actions, the more successfully you can support your emotional growth.
Okay, I love that. That means that all of this is your responsibility. And if you are struggling with this, then you shall seek a therapist who does not know you and can help you on this journey. There's no shame in that.
Right.
There's no shame in it at all. So, with that, go love yourself.
Go love yourself.
Go love yourself.